Hey guys, welcome to a video of Giraffe. Today we are going to be learning about system proficiency and coach game plans. This is something that I really specialize on in 2K, and this is very important for sim leagues. So we're starting off with balance. The balance doesn't focus too hard to do any one thing. You know, the Warriors run this. You know, everyone can play however they want to play in this certain thing, and right now it's the highest overall system. So it's system proficiency. The next is grit and grind, and it's a slower tempo limits offensive scoring chance for opponents. Physical style wears down offense. Interior focus, slow tempo, and it's a slow tempo to make it difficult to come back from large deficits. Excuse me. Pace and space uses continual ball and player movement to extend the defense and allow spacing for three-pointers and drives to the rim. Positive, increased three-point opportunities. Spread opposite defense. Constant motion forces defensive mistakes. Negative, sacrifices strength, height. No low post offensive threat, not ideal for players who thrive on isolation. Perimeter emphasizes a space floor with 4 perimeter shooters and a high dose of pick and roll. You know, it creates mismatches in favor of stretch bigs. Quick means more shots for perimeter players. Increased spacing for pick and roll attacks. Negative, there's typically poor defensively against bigs. They're often punished on the glass due to size. Lack of drives produce fewer free throw attempts. Next is post-centric system, is teams with size, strength, and who prefer to pound the ball inside. This creates mismatches versus poor interior defenders, can create open perimeter shots from double team, increase chances for fouls and free throws, limited three-point attempts, reduce ability to come over big leads, and most effective with size and slower tempo. The next is triangle. Triangle is what the Phil Jackson Knicks use and the Phil Jackson Bulls use. Triangle ensures a balanced freelance approach that utilizes the talents of superstar scorers, players with high IQ. Positives are offensive rebounding, spacing for enhanced post and high post opportunity, facilitates ball movements and isolation scoring. So Scottie Pippen did really well in this. Negative, does not create a lot of three-point opportunities, and it requires players with high basketball IQ, and it does not create early scoring opportunities. If this is ran correctly, this could work so well. Alright, the next is 7 seconds. It's all about forcing tempo by shooting quick and taking shots from the key or the three. Positives, creating plenty of early scoring opportunities. High tempo creates more shots for scorers. Key or three philosophy emphasizes more points per possession. Negatives, high tempo can relate into poor defensive focus, often are out rebound, often efficiency is often lowered at a slower tempo. The next is defensive, and defense puts importance on making every possession tough and creating fast breaks opportunities with high pressure defense. So this is like the bad boy Pistons. Assigned consistency helps on the defensive glass. Typically very good perimeter and interior defense. Great in pick and roll defense coverage. Negatives are stagnant motion hinders offensive consistency. 3 points efficiency from lack of open shots. Defensive pressure can increase foul chances. And that is the end of system proficiency. Off to the coach game plan. So right here we have the rotation of the minutes, and we have the injuries. We're going with sim points of emphasis. For scoring options, you can choose your most dominant scorer, but let's say you're running an NBA team and they're all equally talented when it comes to scoring. I suggest no scoring options because it will create a bad morale, and you'll likely lose that person in off season if their contract is really close. You know what I mean? If there's no scoring options, it is perfect. But if you're running like a college sim, scoring options are highly suggested. Offensive focus, we are going through get to the basket. Get to the basket. These are pretty straightforward, but get to the basket, you know, there will be a lot of cutting, a lot of motion, a lot of screens, and it's just perfect for everybody. This is one of the most highly anticipated, you know, offensive focus. Next is get shooters open. Say your team is part of the 3-point shooting team, and you know, this works well for the Warriors, the 2016 Warriors, a lot of screens for an open three. Next is feed the post. If you want to go 1990 style, you have a dominant feed the post team. You just want to keep on passing it to the big man, passing it to the big man. A lot of assists, a lot of scoring. Next is pick and roll offense. You know, this works. This can trip up a defense from going onto a mismatch when it comes to switching, and it works most definitely. Then there's neutral offensive focus, just like balance of system proficiency. Neutral offensive focus lets the players play how they want to play and just have fun. Then there's play through star. Let's say you have one team where it's just Damian Lillard and the rest are all bench players. You can have Damian Lillard score like 40 points in this offensive focus. So, offensive tempo, there's patient offense, which is like running to the last time where there's like 1 second left on the clock. There's an average tempo where it's a balance between shoot at will and patient offense. Then there's shoot at will where let's say there's a lot of cutting, some motion, you just shoot it and it's just shoot at will. Offensive rebounding. So I did some calculations on this. I ran 100 sims. Yes, 100 sims. So for my evidence, it shows some crash, others get back. For offensive rebounding, about like 22%. When you put it on some crash, others get back. It's 22% borderline. If you switch it to limit transition, it's about 19%, 18.5%, and for crash offensive glass is 27.3%. I highly suggested on crash offensive glass. It is 5%. It is 5% higher than some crash others get back. It works so well. The next is defensive focus. We have neutral defensive focus, and it means just a little bit of both protecting the paint and limiting perimeter shots. We have limit perimeter shots. This works extremely well with teams that are dominant shooters, you know. And the next one is protect the paint. It is more useless to do protect the paint when there's not as much slashers and it's just all shooters in the game. Next is defensive aggression. So we're gonna start with conservative defense. This is like laid back defense. You're not playing as hard and you're just letting them score so you can score back. And it doesn't really work too well at all. Next one is neutral defensive aggression. Neutral defensive aggression is just neutralize and you do a little bit of both. Next is play physical defense. And physical defense is like the bad boys Pistons. They tear you down, but it's more likely you'll get fouls. The next is defensive rebounding. So the thing about defensive rebounding is you don't need to crash. You do not need to crash the rebounding. You know, you already get the rebound about like 75% of the time when it comes to defensive rebounding. Why would you like crash it just to get like 2 or 3 more percentage when you already have the higher deficit against offensive rebounding? So we have run in transition. This is like the cherry picking. We have one person passing it across the whole entire court for a fast break score. We have some crash, others run. Just a normalized like defensive rebounding. Next is crash defensive glass. This is when you grab when everyone grabs a defensive rebound. Next is coaching, and for coaching for me, help defense does not help you. If you set the thing to help defense to higher than, I'd say about 10 or 20, you will have double team, and they could just pass it away for a 3 or an open shot in the paint, and it's really not worth it. Help defense, it may sound good, but it is a big con to the 10. Run plays frequency, I have it at a 95. It works so well. Plays in 2K are the reason why people score. If there's no plays ran, there is no offense. The next is zone usage frequency. Zone usage, let's say you're running a 2-3. They could just double team, right? And you could pass it away for an open 3 or pass it again to the paint. And I just say put it on 0. Next is bench depth 10. I feel like 10's a really good number due to the fact that the starting 5 gets tired and there's a backup 5 to help you out. Bench utilization is how much time your bench will get in a game. I put it at 50, so it's equal for everybody. The lineup performance factor. So let's say you go onto rotations and there's a fire mark on JJ Redick. Let's say there's a cold mark. This would wait, hold on. This would protect it so they would get less minutes, and while the other people who are on fire get more minutes. The young old, I have 50. If you want to rebuild, you put it all the way to young, you know. And system proficiency, I have it at 50. When it comes to playbook is used by how many times. I would suggest on how many times your players shoot threes. So let's go right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 3-point shooters out of the 14. So the 10 out of 14, I'd choose like a play shooting 3-point playbook like the Warriors. Alright, I'm signing out for now. Cue the way to the outro.